Way too many times in my life, I've seen pastors or church leaders shame people because they deviate from the group even a little bit. We don't approve of that particular kind of music. We don't approve of that film. We don't approve of those political positions. And maybe it's passive aggressive at first through social media. Maybe it's from a pulpit on a stage. But there's this authoritarian control, this at first still somewhat implicit statement that you really don't get to move from outside the parameters of the group. But if you persist, it very quickly becomes explicit. It becomes overt. You are not allowed to move outside the parameters of the group. And for most of the people who I'm in circles with now would say, boo, hiss, why would anybody possibly willingly sign themselves up for some kind of oppressive religion like that? But on the other hand, some of us have had the experience of changing our mind on a number of things, maybe just a handful of things, found ourselves as part of a new community. Maybe it's not quite as formal. And yet, what we found is that the rules are just as rigid. There's still a kind of leadership. There's still a question as to whether or not you're currying the favor of leadership. Are you in with the right people? Do they approve of what you're saying and how you're saying it? Are you saying it the way they want you to? There's still insiders and outsiders. Even if ostensibly it's about big ideas of justice and compassion and love. Are you posting about the causes enough or within the right window? And if you're not, then there's still this sense that you will be excluded if you're not walking the line or if you deviate from the group even a little bit. Then there are others of us who maybe don't identify at this point with any kind of institutional religion at all. But even the influencers who claim to be value neutral, we're just giving you the tools to understand the algorithm so that you can get you out there, so that you can get your message out there no matter what it is. And yet the means are never neutral. And the more that we kind of adapt to that and become consumed by it, am I posting enough times on the right platforms in the right way? You really get to a point to where you don't know exactly who you are or what it is that you really believe, what you really think. You lose any sense of agency, really. I had a therapist years ago who was so wise, and I'll never forget. She stopped a session to tell me to leave and go to an ice cream parlor down the street that had 30-something flavors of ice cream, basically just to go and take a few minutes and figure out what kind of ice cream I would actually choose. Because wisely, she saw that I was trapped in the maze of trying to sort what everybody else wanted from me, what everybody else needed from me, how would I appease, so much so that I was disconnected from my own inner voice. I was disconnected from my own sense of self. And that's my sense right now, is that people are able to change their mind about all kinds of things and move from one end of a continuum to another and possibly back again. And yet nobody ever tells you that you're allowed to deconstruct from clout chasing. Nobody ever tells you that you're allowed to sit in the room by yourself and figure out what it is that you really want. And if you're still finding yourself in a place where you're having to pretend that you like things that you don't like, or that you don't like things that you do like, that you're still having to bend yourself in some way for the approval of the group, that's not agency, that's not freedom. And I just want to encourage you gently, maybe you need to get to an ice cream parlor. If you're lactose intolerant, you're smart people, you'll figure it out. Whatever the place is where you get to that place where you can kind of get in touch again with what it is that you really choose. And hey, I understand that we can get bent in all kinds of directions and ways, but anybody who's telling you don't listen to your deepest, truest self, listen to me, please run as fast and as far away from those voices as you possibly can. Because you do have to choose your own life from all the way around, from a deep place inside yourself. So whatever it means for you to be able to do that, I want to encourage you to take the time and space to do that right now. You get to have agency. You get to be free. And no matter how much you've changed the window dressing, if you're still having to contort to be who somebody else says that you're supposed to be, it's not agency, it's not freedom.